Hello, Bri. Thank you very much
Hi.
for joining me today. I know you're from Loughborough, a place in Dempsey. Can you just tell me what was growing up, up there and what's your first memory in rugby?
Yeah, so I actually think, to be fair, that my first memory in rugby will probably be out of my memory range.
Okay.
Because, well, you know my brother, he's played since he was young. My dad loves rugby. My little brother also plays. So naturally, they took me down a lot to Huddersfield, which is where it all started. Great club, lovely pitch. And playing with the boys until I was like 13, I think, 12.
Wow.
Yeah, just only girl in the team. Loved it. They always treated me so well. Loved it there. But I have to say, probably some of my earliest memories will be down at that club.
And for how long did you play there?
So I must have started, I don't know what the earliest age grade is, like under eights.
Under eight. Wow.
Probably. I don't
So
know. I
you played
mean,
what, 6, 7 years?
yeah, a long time. Like some of the lads that I knew there, we grew up together. So yeah, it's crazy seeing what they're all doing now and sad to not be a part of it anymore, really. But
Well, but
yeah,
what would go after,
yeah,
the interview, but look
yeah,
where you are
true,
now.
true.
After Huddersfield, what was the next step? Or if
Yeah,
there was where you realized that you could go, into the next level.
yeah. Well, I think at the time, because, obviously women's rugby is still like very much a growing sport, it's still in a very developmental phase. And if you like wind back to when I'd finished playing with the boys, especially in the north, there wasn't a crazy amount of opportunity to play rugby at an all right level. So there was probably a couple of clubs that I tried. So I went to Barnsley, they had a women's team, which was nice, like a good intro into actual women's rugby, but probably not exactly what I was looking for. And then ended up settling at West Park Leeds, which was a great club. Actually played with a few of the girls that are playing Prem now. So like, I don't know if you'd know, but like Ellie Kilburn,
Yes.
yeah, and a couple of the girls that I play rugby with at Saracens as well, so Carmen and Emma, they also both played with me at West Park. That was a good club, really nice facilities, great club, but not exactly on my doorstep. So I would say probably in that sort of high school sort of phase, rugby, it was quite hard to access. So I didn't play at school because we didn't have a team. But then the opportunity came for me to then move to college in Loughborough, which had like a specialised rugby programme. I kind of went with really low expectations. Like I really didn't want to move away from home that
Yeah.
early. Like I didn't think I'd love it.
You just said that, how like women's rugby was at that time compared to now. How did it look like? Like, was it just, go and try to have fun? Or, it was just kind of oh, you girls are there and, just do whatever you want? Or what kind of rugby was at
Yeah,
that time?
well, there wasn't much of an infrastructure. So, like, if you look at how the men's game is, how the boys are kind of pulled up through school rugby, put into academies, like, there's not really any of that. Well, there wasn't really any of that in the women's game whilst I was coming through. Like, the only thing we really had was county and divisional. So, like, Yorkshire, North of England. And then you had like an international training group, but we didn't really have games. Fast forward to now, and it's so much better. Like we've got a Centre of Excellence, which is kind of like the women's equivalent of academy, and we've got under 18s, under 20s, Six Nations. Like so much more accessible to just have something a bit more in sight
Yeah.
of a goal to aim for. But when I was growing up, it was just fun. Like I loved it. It's all I've really known
Yeah,
growing
no,
up in
definitely.
terms of sport. Like I tried hockey and other things at school, obviously because it's just good fun, isn't it? But rugby was always it for me, and I'm glad that I kind of sort of was drawn back to it towards the end of school because looking at how the sport's developing now, it's a really exciting space to be in. So I'm glad that I came
Yeah,
back to it.
especially, you coming from a family that play rugby and just
Yeah,
rugby is the only sport that you
my dad
guys knew.
loves rugby. Like I don't know if you'll have seen it, but I don't know. I probably shouldn't be saying this on a podcast, but we've got at home our rugby toilet. Have you ever been in?
I've been in for the rugby boots.
Yeah, rugby boots on the wall, all of the Huddersfield photos all around the toilet. It's quite overwhelming.
And not just that, you have newspapers as well, like
Yeah.
where you guys and you couldn't play, like it's all there.
Yeah,
It's all
newspaper
there.
articles, yeah. I mean, it's a bit weird, but I was proud to get my newspaper article on the wall when it came to it. So, yeah,
Well, ended up in
it
the
was only
toilet.
that it was written in the stars that I was meant to be a rugby player, because I don't think my dad would have allowed it any other way.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, and I think I would agree with him as well, you know. But yeah, so when did you realize, alongside your journey, that okay, this could be a way of living?
It's something that you like. I don't know whether I ever had a moment of realization, but I definitely think coming up through the Loughborough pathway, and then the Prem started quite soon after I joined Loughborough, so there never used to be like a premiership league in England for the women, and that, I think it must have been when I first moved to college, having that sort of goal and being alongside it was something that made me think like this could actually be something that I could do, like not just a hobby, And I think having exposure to some of the like international players at a young age, so like people like Scars, they were playing for Lightning, well still are, but and Sarah Hunter and stuff, and being in and around training environments with them from like a really young age, I was like, this is like more than a hobby now. Like it's something that I can make into potentially a career.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Still praying.
And when was which was the time where Saracens scouted you, or how was the first time that they got in touch and said, right,
Yeah. So I like, as I mentioned earlier, how I said about the sort of divisional and the age grade stuff.
Yeah.
So my coach for the sort of England under 18 stuff was Alex, who is now the head coach at Saracens.
Yeah.
So I think whilst I was playing at Loughborough, so I was there for about, I think, 5 years.
Okay.
So they kind of took me from about 17, 18 all the way through till the end of uni. I was at uni for quite a long time. And always kind of in between that time, I was always kind of on Alex's radar, I think, just because we had like a previous relationship. And then, I'd see him at some of our away games playing Sarries, and we'd have a little chat. And it was always something that was kind of in the back of my mind, but it was never really an option for me during uni because I wanted to get my degree.
Yeah.
That was probably like on a same level as the rugby, I had to prioritise that as well, as much as I'd have loved to just play rugby, but
definitely.
Got to have a backup plan. But yeah, he was speaking to me a little bit, and then it came to my final year, and our head coach at Loughborough was leaving, and Alex was contacting me, and also I had some really close friends who were playing at Sarries at the time who were like,
just
you should
come on.
you should come. I just couldn't not, like, it's a great club. Like, at the time I was kind of conflicted because I had an inkling of who the new coach at Loughborough was going to be, and I knew that he had good potential to like really turn around the club, and he's a good coach, like I've worked with him before, and also like Loughborough was what I knew. Like I was growing quite comfortable there and starting to feel more important within the team, so I was like, I could build on what I've done here, or I can go try something new. But I just think I needed something new. Like I needed a change of environment, and I'm so glad that I did it.
That's good.
It's a great club.
And we will go into Saracens in a minute. But what can you tell me was the difference between professional rugby to amateur rugby in your experience?
There's quite a big gap there in terms of actual ability. So the step up from champ to prem in the women's game, I would say, is particularly big, just because the sort of behaviours and how serious you are as an athlete, I think, is something that you just massively have to turn up when you go into that semi-pro environment. I mean, when I'm coming into training from work, I'm training alongside people who are professional, but the expectation is still the same.
Yeah.
So I think naturally you have to really ramp up, you know, the way that you're preparing yourself and the sort of attitude that you have towards rugby as a career as opposed to just a hobby.
Yeah.
And, you know, in the champ, I think it's a gateway to that. But I think there's also a lot of people there who are just there for fun, social, like, fine, so
Yeah,
fine. But, yeah, I think to make that step up, it goes from obviously being social still, but
yeah, but
much
they have
more of,
expectations, you know, from
yeah,
you and from the whole team.
yeah,
And do you still enjoy rugby as a not as a hobby, but the sport of rugby? Do you still enjoy it?
yeah,
Because you know, it's
yeah.
a kind of a also your job as well.
Yeah. I think it's important when you make the transition to find ways to keep enjoying it, because as soon as it becomes a chore, it's difficult to engage as much as you would if you were doing something purely for enjoyment. And I think that's something that maybe kind of happened to me in Loughborough a little bit. Like, I stopped enjoying it as much because, you know, I was stressed about uni or other things, or I wanted to go out with my
Yeah,
friends. And I think in hindsight, that change of environment, it like really like sparked my enjoyment again. Like, the group of girls, they're amazing. Like, I love being around them all the time, and the social aspect at Sarries is great. Like, everyone's so supportive, and honestly, I can say that they're all my good friends, you
yeah,
know. So I think that helps with the enjoyment, but I also think knowing what the team's capable of, and like even the thought of, you know, winning the Prem or like being in a Prem final, that in itself it's just so like it's great to be a part of. And I think there's obviously some days where you're a bit like, oh, I'm tired, like I don't want to train, but it's as soon as you're there, you just like there's
it's gone.
someone,
That's
yeah,
gone.
like
Yeah,
there's always someone who's having a good day if there's someone who's having a bad day, and then like they lift you up
yeah.
and it
It's that
always,
balance.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I definitely still really enjoy it, maybe minus a couple of days.
Well, you've got your holidays now, you know, you're on
Yeah,
holidays now.
exactly.
But you just mentioned about the final, you know, you guys played the final versus Gloucester. The result wasn't the one that maybe you wanted. Can you tell me about that experience? Like, how did it feel to play a final?
Yeah, I mean, it was my first Prem final that I've ever been in, so I was pretty nervous, even though like I was on the bench, so like took the pressure off a little bit. But you know, the build up to the game is probably nothing that I've really ever experienced before. Like, we were the only two clubs training for 2 weeks,
Yeah,
and just even knowing that, you're like, oh, this is like special, you know. And like the crowd that we managed to pull in was bigger than probably any crowd that I've ever played in front of before. You know, StoneX was near to full, which was like huge for us girls. And although the result wasn't what we wanted, I do think a massive part of the journey was just getting to that final, because there'd been a couple of years now that we've fallen short at the semis. So I think even just getting there, like everyone was just buzzing, and like the atmosphere, it was just great. Like, I have to say, it's probably like not one of the first times, but definitely one of the times in my rugby career where it's just felt so important.
yeah,
You know, like you turn up sometimes at the weekend, there's not a crazy crowd, like there's obviously all the usual fans there, and it's important to us, but like externally it's pretty relaxed, you know.
yeah.
When I turn up to that final, I was like, this is like a big event. Like, this is more than anything
Anything,
that I've ever
yeah.
done, yeah. So obviously not great to lose, but like
But it's a huge learn, you know.
yeah, it was a great day. And now hopefully next year
Who knows?
got the
Who knows?
experience
Yeah,
now,
exactly,
so
exactly.
I'll be knowing exactly what to
Do you
expect.
do you remember how was your day that day? Like, what was your routine? Do you have well
It's
for a
all
game
such a
days? Do you
blur.
have like a specific routine?
Um, you know, I actually really try and not. As in, what I eat, always the same. Try and wake up early. Always fake tan the night before a game because don't want to be looking pale out there on the pitch. Got to fake tan.
You have so many cameras in you.
Yeah, you know.
Especially in a final.
Can't be looking pale. Obviously get my hair done. Want that out my face. But in terms of like any like real niche game day habits, I kind of try and avoid them because I just know that if it didn't happen one day, I feel like it would throw me off.
Yeah.
Like there's some girls on the team who will wear the same underwear. Do you know what I mean? Like lucky.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But no, I just try and keep it pretty relaxed and just make sure I'm up nice and early so that I'm not stressed. Nothing worse than, rushing to be ready. But other than that, just want my hair out my face and to be looking tanned.
That's good. And as a team, that week, was it a different week as other weeks on the training camp, or did you guys do something different, or like how did it look like?
Well, it's like a tough balance because I think as much as we want to highlight the importance of what's to come and really train well and everything, I think there's also a part of we don't want to big it up too much and don't want to throw people off. So keeping training as consistent as possible and not treating it like any other week, but keeping it familiar so that no one's kind of spinning out.
Yeah.
I think that was an important part of it. But then I do think, it's kind of like the elephant in the room, isn't it? When you're preparing for a final, it's like, obviously it's massive. Like there's going to be there's a lot of big characters at Sarries and people show their nerves, I think, in different ways. So it's just managing the energy and channeling it into performance as best as we could.
What was the message from the coaches basically?
Yeah, I think it was, obviously all of the sort of tactical things and the normal kind of chat before a game. But I think like a lot of the time we talk about kind of creating a moment that changes the game.
Yeah.
So they kind of always mention, you never know you're in a game-changing moment until it's gone. It's like, don't wait for someone else to do that, do it yourself.
Yeah.
Go on and try and shift the momentum of the game in like everything that you do. And I think having that in mind is something quite powerful because I think sometimes in games, like, you're not on autopilot at all, but there's some times where you might just not quite see an opportunity until it's too late. And I think a big message within the team, and I think you can see it a lot from the way that Sarries play, is just, try and make something out of everything. So instead of just letting things pass you by, look for opportunities in every passage of play, and just fight for every inch, I guess. It's all kind of buzzword stuff, but when you actually think about it, it's quite powerful, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. And what can you tell me, since you started to play for Saracens up to today, what did it change in the women's rugby itself? Not just in Saracens, like in general in England.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, if you compare the way that women's rugby was when I kind of first started in the Prem, so that was at Loughborough, a very different club, but looking back on the standard of the game and also just everything around it, so like media, sponsors, all of that, it was so, didn't really exist. It's quite frightening to see the way that it's developing. I mean, even year on year, the Prem is getting more and more competitive. I think it took a few years to sort of pull in the right clubs, and there was a couple that dropped out and a couple that have come into the Prem now who it's just made the league really, really, really competitive. And I think that's what we as players want, and also what fans want as well. So seeing the way that that's developed, and also just seeing the way that the athletes within the game have developed, massively comes from funding. I mean, having people who are able to be pro as opposed to amateur, you know, the time and effort that you can put into your sport, it just accelerates you so much as an athlete and as a player. And I think it's kind of like a positive cycle. So, you know, a bit more funding, more development, better outcome on the pitch, and then it's just like keeps on going. And obviously, like the World Cup coming up in the summer as well, hopefully we'll just see more and more of that. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Right, you just mentioned, you know, the World Cup. What's your thoughts about it? Not just as a fun, you know?
Excited. Yeah, well, it'd be good for it to be at home. They've got games up and down the country. I think they've got one game in the Stadium of Light, Pit Road. But yeah, I'm excited to see how it unfolds, you know, because I think you've got a few teams who are gunning for the top spot.
Yeah.
I think England are definitely favourites to win, but you've also got New Zealand, Canada, who are looking pretty dangerous. We've got a lot of Canadians on our team, and they are crazy athletes.
As well,
yeah. And huge as well.
I know they are.
Yeah. And then you've got France as well, who have a good stake in that. So I think it'll be an interesting one, and I'd like to see some of the underdogs, you know,
just do well.
Yeah, because you know there's a few unexpected countries out there whose women's rugby develops in like a kind of different way to the men's, I guess. So like Canada, for example, great women's side, but you don't really hear a crazy amount of the men's. Yeah, so I'll be intrigued to see what goes on, and also, you know, it's always nice to see some of your teammates out there as well.
No, I think, you know, as a fan's perspective, it would be really good to see something like that. But do you think, will you watch in the crowd or you'll be in the pitch playing?
Well, I'd love to be on the pitch playing, but I'm not too sure. You know, a stroke of luck, who knows? It might be something that could, well, no, I don't even think it'd be on the cards really, but you never know.
You never know.
It would be good. It would be great to be a part of a World Cup, but I think I'll probably be watching this one. But you know, be hopefully watching it in sold out stadiums is all I can say. I mean, aiming to sell out Twickenham for the final, which will be a momentous occasion for women's rugby. So,
definitely.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see how it goes. Hopefully be some nice close games. That's what we want.
Yeah, especially that you have friends as well, you know, in the squad. So
yeah,
that's
it's mental seeing them. Yeah, I know. Like it can be quite intimidating sometimes because you obviously come into training and there's all the internationals there, but they're all sound. Some of them are a bit crazy, but
yeah. Well, like I said, you never know, because that's you know, my next question is coming up now. It's, as a player, what's your next goal? Like, you know, making the national team, playing Six Nations, World Cup, like, you know, what's your goals as a player?
Definitely have to have my eyes set on like international. That's been like a big goal for me, I think, especially since moving to Saracens, you know, training around a lot of the England girls, you see that and you're like, that's what I want to do. You know, definitely making steps in the right direction. But I think with the World Cup cycle, there's already some great hookers that are contracted, like a couple that aren't, and it's just tough battle to get in there really. But you know, post World Cup, I'm sure there'll be room for a bit of change, and hopefully, fingers crossed, if everything goes well, you know, that's definitely something that I'm going to look to target, I guess.
Yeah, no, definitely something that, you know, will keep you going.
Yeah, it's definitely good, like always a good goal to have in mind, because it's just motivation. Yeah, to keep you making the most of things. But yeah, fingers crossed, Gus.
I know. You just you mentioned a few minutes ago that, you know, at the Saracens squad, and maybe, in the premiership, the women's premiership, not everyone is a, pro player, especially the ones that don't make the international team, well, the England team. How do you balance your life between, rugby and work, and, also see your friends, see your family, how do you try to balance all of that?
It is quite a balancing act. I mean, it's quite difficult because the way, like, as I kind of said earlier, whether you're professional or not, you turn up to training and the same thing is expected out of all of you, which is totally understandable. You're working towards the same goals, you're playing on the same team, but being in the office Monday, working Tuesday morning, coming into training, being back in the, it is a busy schedule, and it's tough as well because I've always been a very social being. Like, I love going and seeing my friends at the weekend and love coming home and visiting home. It's a lot to cram into one, but within that, you just have to find, a bit of consistency, I think, within your schedule. So whether it be getting an early night every now and again, it's boring stuff, but I think having the enjoyment is why that's so important still, because on the days where you are just tired from work, or you're having to cram in like a bit of rugby analysis in, the spare time that you might just want to be chilling, like, having that enjoyment, it just makes it an easier job,
Yeah, no,
so
definitely.
It is really tough, and like, a lot of the internationals on the team who do have that time available to them are really helpful in the sense of they've got a bit more time to watch footage back, they've got more time to talk with coaches, and that then gets fed down to you as someone who's just coming out of work. So it's like, we're all in the same boat in a sense, so we all help each other out, but it can be a challenge, but just hoping for that pro contract.
No, definitely. I'm sure it will come.
Yeah,
What's just getting out from rugby, you just mentioned, just try to get that balance that you're coming from work, and just get into that environment when they expect a lot from you all the time. But what's your hobbies that they make you just say, not forget about everything, but just make you calm, chill, relax, that you can just be you?
I mean, honestly, just spending time with friends, like, doesn't really matter what we're doing, always up for trying new things. Like, my brother's a big advocate of getting outside, and I can't agree more with that. I mean, obviously the weather in the UK is pretty unpredictable, but getting out, going for walks, grabbing a coffee, going out for a bit of food, just spending time with close friends, which you develop quite quickly when you're playing sport. Some of the girls on the team are my closest friends, and having them on my doorstep is definitely something which helps you just relax. Like, they know me so well, and even if you're a bit stressed or like selection's not gone your way, like, going and hanging out with them is something that can just take your mind away from all of that, which is so important when you're just on the go quite a lot.
Yeah.
So anything really with them. But I have been thinking of starting some new hobbies, but I won't go down that rabbit hole because the opportunities are endless.
Like what? Come on.
I don't know.
Give us some examples. Come on.
Honestly, like, anything. Like, I just thought, in this cracking weather, I could go out fishing.
Literally,
Fishing
you
would
could,
be
yeah.
fun, wouldn't it? And I've got so much time now because the season's finished.
Yeah.
And I've got my free afternoons, and I'm thinking, why not? Just try
Yeah.
some road.
Would you go fishing by yourself or with friends? Because personally, I find fishing sometimes, if I go by myself, a bit boring. Like,
Have you done fishing before? Are you into it?
just twice. No, I've never been into it. Like, I don't have the equipment, so I'm always, just rely on
really.
friends. But
it just looks so relaxing, and
I know.
think that would be nice. But I'd probably have to go with friends, because if I went on my own, I'd just have all my thoughts.
You're just
running
scrolling your
around.
phone all the time.
Yeah. Probably just end up, just sitting on my phone or something. So, but God knows, I'll keep you updated on that. I'll probably pick up some weird hobbies in the off season. There's a lot of girls on the team who like crocheting.
All right, okay.
And knitting and stuff. Yeah. Oh, there. I
There
don't
we
know
go.
how to do it, but yeah, loads of people
I
are
don't
so
brush it
into
either,
yeah.
but yeah.
Really, I thought that might have been yours.
Oh, no, that don't mind. But no, I think, you just mentioned the weather. Maybe some scarves, hats, make it yourself rather than just go and buy them.
Exactly. Well, I've had what have I had made for me? I've had keyrings made for me. One of my friends' mum actually just knitted her entire jumper, so I'm trying to get a little request in there. It's pretty cool actually.
Do you like to watch series, movies, go to the cinema, theatre?
Quite like a cinema visit actually. I don't go very often, but me and my friend Isla, we used to do that sometimes on a rubbish evening. You know, it's a good event. Like, it's just when there's a good film on, I do quite enjoy it, but then it's just so expensive to go to the cinema. It's like 25 quid for a ticket these days, which is mental.
Plus the popcorn, plus whatever you drink.
Got to be as popcorn and a Tango ice blast.
Literally.
No other way. But I do quite like that. Films sometimes I struggle with because you have to just commit to the whole 2 hours.
Literally, you can't just, pause it and go to the toilet or whatever.
Exactly. But I like a series. I love a bit of Black Mirror. Been watching the new series.
Did you watch it?
I've not seen all of them yet. I think I've watched a couple of the new episodes, but I've been a bit disappointed so far, to be honest.
I didn't want to say that, but me too. Yeah. Without spoiling, which one at the moment is the one that maybe, you like it the most?
So out of the new series?
Yes.
So I've watched 3 of them.
The first 3?
I don't think I've watched them in order.
Did you watch the first one? The first episode?
Which one is that?
The one that makes me sad that he has to do stuff to keep up with the payments.
Common People.
Yes.
Yeah. I've watched that one. That one was quite good. Like the actor in it, what's he called? Chris O'Dowd or something? I
don't know how it's called.
I like him, but
made me sad,
Yeah,
it made me really sad.
I could see where it was going though. The only thing that annoyed me was, well, there was a bit of a twist, but I guess. But in some of the older episodes that are like a bit more action packed,
yes,
they've always got like a curveball at the end. That's the bit that I like.
I know.
Whereas in the ones at the moment, I feel like you can kind of see where it's going, and it's still sad.
Yeah, it's not like a twist that I didn't expect that. Stuff like that.
Yeah, but I do love Black Mirror because it's like a perfect in between a film and a series. Yeah. So you're not like committed to the series where you get hooked and you end up watching it.
Exactly.
But it's not as long as a film.
Also the thing, if you watch, let's say, in any season, the third episode for the first start, to the start, all you're not missing anything because they're all random episodes. They don't, they don't have any relation.
Yeah, I like that. But yeah, I'd say I'm more into the series because you can kind of hop in and out of them. But there is just some wild stuff out there.
Yeah, I know.
I was watching one the other night with a couple of girls in the house. It was called like Me and My 6 Schizophrenic Brothers. And it was about this family of 12, 6 of the kids are schizophrenic. And it's just like the happenings of that household, and it's mental.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. It's
on Prime.
Just getting to a family house is, just a completely different world in each house.
Like this massive American family, and it was just crazy, some of the stuff that went on. But yeah, it is cool to see what's out there. Like, there's literally programs on everything these days, so whatever floats your boat, I guess.
What's your relationship with the kitchen, and why I'm asking that? Because kitchen. Yes, I want to shout out to Alejandro, and she said cooking got a lot better from you. Why is that? Cooking? Yeah. It's just enjoyable, isn't it? I mean, tell me? It's like, it's trying to strike the balance between, I guess, eating for sport and eating for enjoyment. And it's just nothing better than just like having like an hour or so to cook. Like, I feel like it's really cathartic being in the kitchen, It's like almost therapy. You're there prepping, and then at the end you've got a meal, and a meal is such a social occasion as well. You can get your friends round, and I love it. It's really fun. I think probably some of my brother's influences rubbed off on me there, because he's like obviously loves food and everything, and
honestly, glad that I'm not around him too much because I would be
You would kill it.
fat. Yeah, I would be fat. But I do think, like, I enjoy the process of it all, and it's always fun, isn't it? Trying new things. So that's definitely something that I'm hoping to keep going with, because it's just endless possibilities. Yeah.
Literally.
And
While you just think of a dish that you want to cook, and you just doing all the prepping and everything. Do you like to listen to music?
Yeah.
Or podcasts?
Yeah,
Or
get a good playlist on. Yeah, I love making playlists.
what do you like?
A bit of everything, really. Depends on the season, depends on the mood,
All right.
Got a playlist for everything. Currently making my holiday playlist, so that should be a good one. Nice
Top
summer
3
tunes.
songs?
Top 3 songs. That's a really tough question. I actually don't think I'm going to be able to answer it. Top 3 songs for what occasion?
Okay, let's say before you play the final.
Okay, definitely something with a lot of energy.
Something like more rocky or with the beat up, like electronic or stuff like that.
I'd honestly have to say a mix. Like, I don't mind a bit of rock and roll, because my dad, he used to be into like AC/DC, all of that kind of
Oh,
thing.
it's cool.
Yeah. So I feel like on the way to games when I was young, he'd always put stuff like that on. Like, we used to listen to like Motorhead and stuff, be in the car like getting riled up.
Just to finish, Bri, I'm gonna just give you 5 quick questions and just answer me, whatever is the first thing that comes to your head.
I'm not good at doing that, but I'll try.
Okay. Your favorite cheat meal?
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken. Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
love
From
fried
any
chicken.
kind of the, big chains or homemade?
There's this place in just near St Albans called Chicken George, which is really nice. They came to training the other day, and they do like buffalo wings and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
And
nice.
which sauce?
Buffalo.
Nice,
Yeah, buffalo
nice.
sauce. Nice bit of spice. Yeah, like that.
The best stadium that you play at?
Do love playing at StoneX. Franklin's Gardens
Franklin's
is
Garden.
nice.
That's a good
It's
one.
nice,
That's a
yeah.
good one. Teammate most likely to be late at training.
I hate to say it, but I actually think a lot of people would probably say me. But
Oh my god. I didn't think, I thought because of your brother you'd be like, just on time.
nah, I mean, I can see why you would think that, but just so easily get wrapped up in the moment, and the next thing I know, forget what time it is, late in. But other than myself, I would probably have to say maybe McKenna, because she's always working. She's
Fair enough.
always working, that girl. So you'll like see her, she'll be at training, heading a laptop, and yeah, she's got a mad life. It's probably her.
Fair enough. Which player from other team from the Prem or from wherever you would sign for Saracens?
Probably Maud Muir. She's a young prop playing at England level at the moment. She's great. She's a lovely girl as well. I played with her a bit in age grade, and she's always good vibes in the changing room. So probably Maud.
Good.
She actually nearly ended my life when I came on in the final. Yeah. First thing I did, catch a ball, seen her coming straight towards me. Like, she picked me up. So I was like, fair enough.
Play, yeah. Fair play.
Can't beat him. Join him,
The best try that you remember?
Don't score many tries. Usually just off the back of a maul. Maybe a pick and go try. I mean, that's a pretty exciting one for me. I literally never score, but maybe try and make it my goal next season, score a few more open field tries. I mean, I have to say that's a goal that's rolled from season to season to season, but next year will be my year. I'm going to score a stormer from a 50.
And which one is the best that you remember now that maybe you scored during this season?
Quins away, that was a good one because it was a tight game. They were on I think they were on like a 9-game winning streak, and we knew it was going to be a big day, obviously away as well. Kind of hate playing at the Stoop because the ground's just not what I'm used to. Yeah, and getting to score against them was good because, hate playing Quins. Hate Quins.
Well, that's one. Between 3 to 5 differences between Loughborough and Albans.
Well, St Albans is bigger. It's a lot Loughborough is very close knit. You walk around the street, you see people that you know, which is great most of the time, but sometimes it's just like, oh god, you can't catch a break. So St Albans is nice. It actually feels like it's not just students, which is quite nice. Close to London, which is nice. I like that. Lots of sightseeing. I still class myself as a bit of a tourist in that sort of area. Obviously, being from the north, it's all quite exciting to me. And probably lots more nice coffee shops, which is always good.
Good. Bri, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. And
no worries, thank you too.
Until next time.
Until next time, Gus.